it's not an old company. We actually set it up, incorporated it late in 2015, but we parked it for several years to focus on setting up GT Gold, which I set up and which we sold last year to Newmont after our very large saddle discovery. So I came back to Evergold in 2019 and actually took it public late in the year. So what I'd really like to focus on today, we have several properties, of course, in BC, mostly in BC, 4 properties actually. We have one in Nevada that's rather exciting, but today I do want to focus on our high-grade property, combination of high-grade and bulk tonnage, really. It's called Golden Line. And I think the key event of last year, which was rather lost on the market, was the discovery of our first high-grade domain within what is a very large system. And that came very late in the year. We only delivered the results late in November. And of course, there was tax loss selling. We closed the year out at our lows. And I would argue that we are really poised to move up. We have a lot going on right now. I think it's really a game changer, the results we delivered. And this particular slide here is an example of some of the material that we were delivered last year. That is high-grade, massive sulfide. Generally, that particular sample runs 24 grams per ton, and quite a bit of silver as well, quite a lot of zinc as well. And I would mention that last year our program highs ran as high as 924 grams per ton silver, quite a lot of zinc and lead in this discovery area as well, to go along with the gold. So our focus is going to be following up on that high-grade domain. That's the total focus for 2022. And of course, I'll be making some forward-looking statements. We are really at the pointy, high-risk end of the business, and I'd remind people of that. Our goal is to deliver discoveries of merit and to advance them, and perhaps with some luck, sell them out at some point, as we did with GT Gold. I guess the near-term stock driver, as far as I'm concerned, is going to be results from GL1 Main. It is a very broad, long zone as it's currently drilled. It's been drilled along about 400 meters. So there's a wide envelope there, bulk tonnage style. And that 400 meters is situated within a much longer footprint, a geochemical footprint extending along strike. It's fault bounded, so it's typical of many systems like, for example, the LP zone at Great Bear there. We have the broad intercepts, and now for the first time, we have our rather compelling high-grade domain, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be more of those turned up as we go forward. Just briefly, we're focused here in northern BC. Golden Triangle is the one over to the right there. It's in the Toodoggin region. We have another property called Snowball over here on the left. It's an excellent property, but a really challenging one to drill. And I think this year, just because of the critical mass we've got, we're going to focus over on the right. Some of the other properties in the area and major companies are companies like Centerra down south with some porphyry plays, and Benchmark working on developing a mine at the old lawyer's property, Cheney Mine there. So we're north of there currently. It's high helicopter accessible, but Newmont, of all people, given that we sold a company to them last year, first drilled this property in 1984. I will just mention there were some major shortcomings to what they did. Their holes were widely spaced, and they made the mistake of not going below any one of the holes they drilled with any undercuts. So they had 100-meter separations on their holes. They got broad, long intercepts of low grade in all of the holes on the GL1 main zone, and they didn't do any undercuts. we took it on, actually the vendor to the property in 2013. We took ownership over in 2015, 2016, and we drilled it in 20 and 21. And we replicated their results very successfully. What is really new are these high-grade results that came late in the year. So that's going to be the laser-like focus this year. It is a large system, and sure as shooting, we're going to trend up beyond where we are currently. This slide here is just an indication. You can see the currently drilled areas encompassed by the black rectangle. That's what we're calling the GL1 main zone. But you can see it's actually within a much longer 2.7 kilometer long, at least, zone, carrying a lot of silver, a lot of gold in soils, and the zinc and lead footprint as well. Some of the 2021 high-grade assays, just to give you an idea here, there's always a broad zone encompassing the high grade, this 40 meters of 2 grams of gold, a good bit of silver, plus the zinc and the lead. Within that, you're now starting to pick up these high grades, 3 meters of 10 grams, etc. The interesting thing about the high-grade domain discovery late last year was that it actually comes right to surface between the historical drilling. For example, in this hole 24, this 66 meters, that's actually just 20 odd meters vertically below surface. It includes really nice grades, 1 meter, 29 grams, etc. And we're going to be turning up and following up on this particular intercept. I expect to release more news very soon relating to our modeling on this zone. And to give you an idea, in 2020, the holes we drilled were consistently delivering these broad intercepts, anywhere from 50 to 80, 90 meters of this sort of 0.5 to 0.9 grams per ton, plus the silver, plus the gold and the zinc. But I think it's plus rather the zinc and the lead. But in my own view, I think the upside near term for shareholders is the high grade. This particular image here shows plan view. This is just the core, the GL1 main zone, drilled along about 400 meters, showing both the blue and the blue in the being the silver, and the gold results in gold. The trace of the footprint, that's about 100 meters wide here. It outcrops, and this is the location with the red dashed line of our first high-grade domain. This is a view on the geology of the same image, this drilling. You can see the large fault. We're not sure if whether it's normal or thrust. We believe it might actually be a reverse normal. This is, broadly speaking, an extensional environment, but basically this entire package here of volcanics and volcanic clastics is mineralized. This is another view, just to give you some idea. Again, you're seeing in red the gold footprint and the blue. This is the silver. This is the geochemistry over several kilometers of strike. And we have yet to determine where this is going. What I can tell you is the zone, we believe the GL1 main zone here dips steeply to the northeast. So it's a substantial zone sitting right on surface, which holds open the possibility of an open pit scenario with a high-grade underground situation developing. I would note that several hundred meters to the north, up on GL1 North Ridge, we're getting very high grades of gold in soil up there as well, 14 grams per ton in actual soil. So there's a lot of potential to expand this when we focus on it. These next few slides you can look at in detail later because there is a lot of detail on them, but this is actually our high grade section. Again, these results only came on November 16th last year. This is our section 232425. Normally, when you drill something like this, you're always hesitant to believe that it's going to continue to depth below. In this case, it continued to depth below. And when we put in an overcut, it was up there just as strong as down there. So this high-grade domain is coming to surface, And I expect it's going to deliver some really exciting results in the forthcoming season. This image is just a close-up of the shallow portion of the previous image. And this is really pretty much a true width intercept. That's just meters below the surface here. 11 grams, 12 of gold over 3 meters within a much broader envelope, 44 grams here. So it's a really lovely kind of zone that's developing. This is the deeper portion on the same image, just showing you some of the grades we're getting there. Short intervals, a very high grade, but always a nice consistent zone that we can pick up in the assays. This is about 150 meters vertically below surface. And it's your typical epithermal style, maybe with a few twists. It's got a lot of iron carbonate, which tends to give the material a kind of red cast. You see it here? You might think that's potassic, but it's not. It's actually iron carbonate. Otherwise, fairly typical. A lot of galena, salarite, as well as the pyrite carrying the gold, the silver. There's linerite here as well in places which can deliver really high grade silver when you get into it, and we have with some surface sampling. So that's really Golden Line. That's going to be our focus. I would mention here as well that we have a property called Rockland, which is in the developing Walker Lane area of Nevada that we picked up early last year. This is an exciting property, and in many respects, it's kind of similar to Golden Line, i.e. it has a rather substantial drill gold zone on it. It was worked by BHP. There's also an old mine on this property, but we're especially interested in the east side, which you can see encompassed by some of this leapfrog modeling here. We are really in permitting on this property, so I haven't really talked about it much, but it's going to be drilled. I doubt we'll get there this year, but certainly next year. And it could get exciting. Again, it's a epithermal system. We know that the high-grade old mine on the west side of the property delivered really strong numbers. And this side here is a little different. It's a new discovery, 2007 or thereabouts, which has a lot of potential. We think this may be the boiling zone, or reflect rather the halo over a Midas-style boiling zone. And it's a big zone. It's, as you can see, about 800 meters in length. So historically, there were some strong numbers there. Just to give you an example, 180 meters, 0.4 grams. It's a broad zone, and within it, you're getting high grades, 1.5 meters of almost 20 grams and so forth. So it's a good, solid-looking property that I think will develop with some more work. And we are permitting, and of course, this would allow us to work this property given the advantageous topography and weather at a time of the year when we really can't be active up in northern BC. And I would mention, of course, Evergold is very much a seasonal play, and that affects our stock price. And again, we've seen our bottom for the year. We're just starting to tick up now. But for those of you who understand the seasonality of the northern BC plays, it's a good time to be looking at this stock because, as I said, there is a great deal going. We have about $3 million cash in the till right now. This shows our capital structure, about 75 million basic shares out, fully diluted, about 107. We're trading only at about 13.5 cents at the minute. We have a really strong insider shareholder position over there, 13%. We've got Sprott and a number of other institutions that hold this 29% over here. And the rest is largely retail at the current time, as you might not be surprised to hear. So as far as management, we're all solid, trained people. I'm a geologist originally, although I spent most of my career raising money and bird dogging deals. But I have been running junior resource companies on the TSX and Venture since 2004. We're qualified people. Andy here with our VP Exploration. Our directors, some of you may know them. Darwin Green is CEO here of High Gold. Rosie Keough, she did a lot of the early grassroots work at Voisey's Bay and has a really strong background, especially in the investment banking world. And Alex is a geophysicist. Charlie is really our key technical advisor. He and I really set up GT Gold and obviously did well by that. And of course, he's a major shareholder in Evergold as well, as am I. So that is really the story. I just close out with this slide, which shows you where we are currently. That's us over on the bottom right, just about 13.5 cents as of yesterday. We did a financing last year, early in the year. We are really active. You can see the market in mid-November, late November, when we delivered the high-grade domain discovery. It got a lot of attention, but it didn't really help our story at the time other than chewing up a lot of loose hands or getting rid of a lot of loose hands. People disappointed that they had bought at higher prices in the past. I understand that, but the company has some very fine assets, and I think we turned the corner big time with the high-grade domain discovery. So now's the time to really be back in the story. And I can assure you we're really going to be active this year pushing it forward.